Okay, guys, to make this tapering jig, you need a few things. You need 2 pieces of whatever type of wood you use. I'm just using maple plywood, and I cut mine 2 1/4 wide, 23 inches long, but you can cut yours any size you want. I mean, you can make them 4 foot long if you want. That's not a big deal. But then you'll need a solid piece of wood, which is the same width as this piece. So whatever you decide to make it, you need a small piece of wood. I used a piece of maple since I was making it out of maple. Then you'll need one of these adjustable friction support hinges. I got this one at Ace Hardware. I think it was $3.59. Then you need a pack of hinges. I picked these up at Lowe's, so this is more expensive than it should have been. This was $3 and something. Same thing with the handle, was about $3. You need a brass insert, threaded insert, and 2 screws. Any kind of screws you want, as long as they're for wood. I'm using the ones that go with the Craig system, just because they have a bigger head, and I'm not really worried about them sitting flush. But this is all you need. And just the materials, I think for me it was like $12. So you should come up, shopping around. You could probably get this for less than $10. This process, so we need 1 hinge. And we're going to mount this hinge on the edge of the wood. Like so would be fine. But since that is so hard to hold and drill when you're working by yourself, I'm going to use a piece of double-sided tape to actually put it in place and hold it. And you don't have to cut it square or anything. You just want something to help you hold that piece in place. Now, with the tape in place, you take your hinges, flush it up on the edge, and then flush it up on the other edge. A 7/64 drill bit, which is a really tiny drill bit because it has to be smaller than the actual screw size. So we're going to line this up, and we're going to drill 4 holes in the center of the holes for the hinges. Now, you don't have to go too deep. All you're going to do is run your screws into the hole with a screwdriver. You could use... Okay, now that we've got the hinge attached, just cut off the excess double-sided tape. And peel it off. And that's what you should have on the end of it. It doesn't have to be perfect, because all that's going to do is open it and close it. That's all you're going to get out of it. So that's not a really big thing if you don't get it exactly lined up perfect. I noticed mine got a little bit off, but it was flush on this end. This is the side that runs against the fence, so that's the most important. That doesn't really matter that much. So now we need to attach the block on the back side, and we're going to do the same process. We're going to take our drill and drill the holes through it. And we're going to anchor it with the wood screws. Same process. Line it up on your edge and make sure it's butted up really good. Once you drill your first hole, you can put the 1 screw in, and we'll insert it. Run it in with the drill and torque it down real good. But we need to add some glue to it so it bonds it really well. So let me get my glue, and then we'll just attach this and we'll do the other one. come out pretty good. So now we need to mount the adjustable friction support. Basically, this is a hinge for a desktop that folds down, and it was brass, and I thought it was pretty neat. And I used that on mine. I built mine out of my walnut and maple, and it looks pretty good with walnut. So it'll work fine with this. So let me take this one apart or open it up, and I'll show you how to assemble this. Okay, the first thing we need to do on this friction hinge is we're going to take this off, but we're going to have to drill out this rivet here on the bottom. And that's where our screw is going to go to mount it. So I got an 11/64 drill bit, and we're just going to drill it out. So now let me get a screwdriver and take this off. And this is the piece that we're going to mount on here. And that's going to tell us where we need to drill our hole for our brass insert. So now we go back to our smaller bit. And this is the 3/32 that we used before. Mount your circle in with a hole, with this hole in it, and anywhere on here, the further up you mount it, the wider it will open. The further back, it won't open as much. But for this project, I'm going to move it down about here, because we don't need it to open that much. So you just drill a hole. I'll put a washer in between it, but just to show you how it goes, it should be just like this to work. Okay, now we've added this with the brass screw, and I did put a washer on it because I don't want that to be too tight. I want it to be able to move around really easy. And once you see, when we put this piece in, you'll see why. So now let's mark this hole and put it in the center of your board. So it should be, if you're using 3/4 material, it should be 3/8 of an inch over and right in the middle. So then we'll have to drill this hole again. And this time I'm going to need this bit because we're drilling to insert this threaded brass fitting. So let me set the drill press up, put this bit in, and we'll drill this. Now to do this, I have my brass insert. I've got a 23/64 bit in my drill press. And like I said, you can do this by hand. It just may not be as straight. I like the drill press. I love my drill press. And then you'll have this hole. And then you'll insert the brass in and screw it in. So let's go back over to the bench and we'll screw this in. Okay guys, now that we've got the hole drilled, we want to take our insert, and I've already tapped it into the wood to get it started. So go ahead and tap it into the wood. Take your screwdriver or your Allen wrench, whichever your tap needs, and screw it into the wood. Make sure it's flat. Check your piece right here to make sure it's wide enough. I had to file this one down a little bit because the knob didn't want to go down in there. It was tight. I'm going to add a couple of washers to mine so I don't have to run the threads down as far. You don't have to do that, but just make it quick and easy for me. You get it lined up here in the hole. Tighten it. There we go. Get it started. Tighten it down. And just like that, table saw, tapering jig in 10 minutes for $10. Guys, you don't have to do this. I just like mine to be really slick. If you want yours to slide really good on the table saw, sand the bottom edge down really good. But I use a mixture of turpentine and beeswax. And I'll apply that with a rag onto the bottom edge. And it's just kind of a wax. and the turpentine will evaporate, but the beeswax will stay, and it won't harm the wood. And you can just rub down the whole piece. It just helps make the thing slide a little better. So that's just a little tip that I thought I'd throw out there. It's not necessary to do, but you want that thing to slide really good on the table saw. Guys, hope you enjoyed the video.